Right, okay, folks. Welcome to another Friday Waffle. I don't know what the date is. It's going to be the 17th. I'm recording this yesterday. That sounds a bit weird when you're actually in the present and you're saying yesterday. I'm recording this yesterday and you're seeing it today, obviously. Yep, I've got my old mucker, Mr. Delboy. How are you, mate?
Hello, how are you? I'm fine. I'm actually optimistic and smiley. How's that?
Yeah. I know you've been going through a few things on the health front, mate. I don't want to give any spoilers. Obviously, you've got your own waffle, but how are things anyway? You're just waiting on a few results coming back.
Yeah, I mean, it's one of those things where I'm learning that why worry about something when it's just a test? Worry about it when you know what the result is.
But that's human nature. We all worry about things, and the reality is very rarely does it come anywhere near. You know, how many times have you had that? You get the email for your boss on a Tuesday night saying, right, my office tomorrow morning at 10 o'clock, and you're like, what am I going into here? What am I going into here? And then you'll go in, you'll go, oh, by the way, it's nothing. We just want to talk about blah 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 blah. And you're like, fucking hell, I was bloody worried sick about this. And it's the same with lots of things. I mean, don't get me wrong, there's lots of, when it comes to health and whatever, there, things can go. They're not always good news, but 9 times out of 10, whatever we worry about in life, the reality is never.
No, but you've hit the nail on the head, because I tell you what, one of the worst things that you could actually happen is it's 4 o'clock on a Friday. An email comes through saying, we need to have a chat at 10 o'clock on Monday morning. Yeah. You're going, great. So on Saturday and Sunday, I'm going to be thinking, what the hell do they want me to talk about? And it ruins your whole weekend. You're just going, I don't know what it's about. I don't know if I've done something wrong. In your head, you're going, what?
Yeah, I had that, and I don't mind talking about it. I had that with a job, about 4 jobs ago. I got a new boss who was a complete and absolute dickhead. He was a bully, and the funny thing was, a couple of years after I left the company, they got in touch with me and they wanted information about why I left, blah 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 blah. So there'd obviously been further allegations about this guy. But anyway, this guy phoned me one night about 5 to 5 on a Friday, saying, "Where are you? I need to meet you on Monday morning." I goes, "All right, can I ask why? There's been an allegation made against you. We'll talk about it wherever it was." And I'm like, "Fuck it." I spent my whole weekend. I was just like, "What the fuck?
Yeah.
Like, what the fuck? Have I done something?" And when I got to the office to meet him on the Monday morning, the allegation was that I had recently taken on a new building that I was looking after, and the cleaner had only seen me once. That was the allegation, that she'd actually only seen me once. And I'm like, I got really angry with the guy, and I didn't see he was a fucking dick, but I was really pissed off. And anyway, but yeah, you're right. I had to unfortunately let someone go at my work a couple of weeks ago. And I actually Googled what is the best day to do it. I was going to do it on a Friday because you think, well, it's a Friday, but at the end of the week. And then I Googled it and it said that the best day is a Tuesday, because if you do it on a Friday, they've then got the whole of the weekend. You've ruined their weekend.
Yeah.
They can't get in touch with the job centre or whatever it was. So I did it on the Tuesday. Yeah.
Yeah.
It's a horrible thing. You have to. What is the best way to sack somebody? I mean, what's the best day?
Yeah.
There's not a good day for it. But yeah, doing something like that on a Friday is not really cricket, mate. But anyway, listen, I'm sending big hugs your way, mate, and as all your friends are, and I'm sure it'll be absolutely nothing. I mean, the important thing is, you'll get the right medication and you can move on from it.
It's appreciative. There's so many people that have turned around and said, "I bet you any money they'll shock your heart." And I went, "What does that mean?" They said, "Well, apparently there's a really cheap way of getting your heart back to normal. If your heart becomes irregular, they can shock it, and it basically goes back to normal, regular rhythm." It's like your heart is reset like that. You go, "Oh wow," and it said it might be that's all they need to do. And I'm going, Well, if it's something as simple as that, then I'm ecstatic. I said, yeah, so think along those lines, because it could be a change of medication. It could be just that. Why are you thinking all the time that they're going to open your bloody heart out and you're going to have a great big bloody, why does everybody think that when he's it's not a triple heart bypass, you know what I mean? So yeah.
Talking to high blood pressure, by the way, I know in the camera it looks like I've got a red face. I don't actually look like that in real life. It's this bloody piss poor camera. I'll need to fuck about with it because it's making it, it makes me look like I've been drinking too much whiskey or something.
Well, I've always thought the soft focus makes you look better because I've seen you in real life and bloody hell, it's ugly.
HD,
so I thought,
I'll give you a laugh. Where was I? I went out with Eva on Sunday.
Oh, bless.
You can see I was just completely blanked what you were saying because that's the contempt that it deserves.
Yes, I agree.
I went out with Eva to a place called Kuros. It's spelled Culross, Culross. It's apparently one of the most desirable places to live in Scotland. Think Hovis advert.
There's one. Anyway, go on.
Think Hovis advert.
Yeah,
it's that type of place. It's after Google it later on. It's a beautiful little village. It's got an abbey. It's got a church. It's got a castle.
Cobblestone.
It's all cobblestones. It's I mean, I'm not the biggest guy in the world, and I would have to duck to get under the doorways because back in the 16th century, people were small. But it's a beautiful place. It's like it's been frozen in time. It's I'd be really surprised if the BBC hadn't filmed programs in this place because it's real. It's beautiful. Where was I going with that again? I was talking about something. Why was I talking about Kuros? What were we talking about again?
Well, it was just beautiful places to be.
No, but
you said it was the most desirable place to live in Scotland.
No, I'm trying. I can't for the life of me remember why. What were we talking about?
Oh, you were going about Ava, and you were taking her around.
No. But I was coming up with a story. Oh, bollocks! I can't remember the point of the story.
Well, that was very good. I really enjoyed that, Alan. Thank you very much. I was
trying to go. What was
my day?
What the hell was I talking about? Oh, I can't. No. It's completely gone. Anyway, not to worry. Talking about bloody old age, mate. You start talking and you can't remember. So anyway, yeah, it's been a wee while since you and I have got together doing one of these. I mean, I've not done a collab kind of waffle for a wee while. I think as everybody that watches this channel knows, I've ran out of things to talk about on waffles. And no matter how hard I try to think of things, because I don't keep up to date with gaming news. So when people say to me, usually down the rabbit hole, he'll say, "Oh, what do you think of the new Game Boy?" Blah 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 blah. And I'm like, don't know anything about it. I'm not really. If I'm being honest, I'm not really interested in new stuff. Are you interested in new technology, kind of game related? Does that get you excited?
No, I mean, anybody that's sort of like seen anything that I do will tell you that everything that I know is generally opportunist. It comes up as a feed in my YouTube, and because I watch YouTube, it's like, oh right, okay. So I must have been interested in that in the past, type of thing, So there are only two programs that I generally watch on YouTube, other than yourself, Alan, and that is things like that Retro Zone, the This Week in Retro and Techmoan. The rest is very, very opportunist. And so because I've got a Mister, I'm always getting feeds that say, "Oh, by the way, did you know that there's a low-cost Mister?" And I'm going, "Oh, right." So I knew about that quite early. But do I know about the very latest thing about the portable Game Boy or whatever it is, the FPGA? I get hardly any feeds about that because I've never shown any interest in it.
Those
those things come out the blue for me.
Aye, But I'm really my interest. It's. I mean, I suppose it's a bit like a historian who's interested in the war and all that kind of stuff.
Yeah, yeah,
Is he interested in the Ukraine war? Probably not. It's different, and that's like me with games. My interest lies in the sort of early years of computers. And so anyway, I'm getting back to what I was talking about. The Friday Waffles. Unless people give me stuff to talk about, questions, whatever, I'm not going to do them. But
yeah.
when I've been doing it's even got to a point when I used to do a live waffle, I could just switch the camera on and just talk and talk and talk and talk and talk and talk and talk. But it's now extended to the live waffles. I'm thinking, well, I've got nothing to talk about. I've got
Yeah.
really nothing to talk about. So Kenny, taking a wee bit sort of inspiration from your blog, I thought, why don't I just add in a few kind of features? I think I think last week I called it the Tiswas of waffles, whatever.
It
You
is
know,
from the
there's
waffle.
it's just I've got to try and fill the gap a wee bit. And Steve, who's a mutual friend, Retro Steve. What does Steve call himself these days? I can never keep up to date with him.
Steve's Gaming, is it?
Is it Steve's Gaming? Yeah. He said that he thought that was the best waffle ever. I'm like, bloody
There
hell.
you go.
So it's nice, but yeah, I've not. I mean, I'm really aware, and I shouldn't. I don't beat myself up over it, and I shouldn't. But I'm so self-aware that I don't really make videos anymore. I think that's partly down to, well, a huge part down to I simply don't have any time. I
I
did,
think
however,
I will say this. I think you're doing
yeah.
yourself a disservice. You're actually putting yourself sort of like on a pedestal to say, please shoot at me because this is how I'm acting at the moment. And I don't think you need to do that because you do an awful lot of output. And does it matter whether it's a collab or not? It's always something different. And I think if it was something that was the same all the time and it was regurgitated, and the only thing that's different is you've changed the game, but it's the same thing. So, I'm going to do now 5 different versions of R-Type, and next week I'm going to do 5 different versions of a Gradius, and next week I'm going to do 5. At the end of the day, all you're doing is changing the game, and you're just saying, "Well, I think this one's as shit as the last week's." Really, the game makes it different, but it's the format. So it gets stale. By you doing, oh, well, I'm doing a collab this week, I'm doing the waffle this week. On Sunday, I'm doing totally whatever people want me to do, or no, I've actually chosen it. In fact, you're keeping it fresh because nobody knows. So when you get there, it's like, oh, well, I'm going to have a good time because I have no bloody idea what's going to happen in this video that I'm going to watch. Right.
I mean,
everything you watch when it says in the title comparison of R-Type, you know what you're watching.
Yeah.
So you're just going to go, right, so I'm going to see the Amstrad version again, am I? Yeah, look, there's the Amstrad version again. I'm going to see the Spectrum one. Yeah, look, there's the Spectrum one. If the guy or the girl is not saying something different about it, then you're just going, and? So what? Yeah. Why am I watching this again?
Yeah, I think, and we've kind of spoke about that before. I generally watch YouTube videos. Well, no, I do watch YouTube videos where there's some irritating bastards. But like a retro gaming type thing, I generally watch it because of the person, rather than maybe the content type thing, But what one? I'm sorry, I'm not. I know I'm just talking about myself at the moment, but the one thing that I've started doing, which has it's given me a new kind of lease of life, is the podcast, the Nice and Nasty, because it's that personally I think they're great, and I'm not talking about what I'm asking, but the format. I love the format because it gives me an hour just to. It's almost like a blind mates only, and then we say, right, now let's get into the actual content of the thing itself. And I've reached out to about 3 or 4 people this week, and I've got a few people that are going to be coming on, which is great. And it's so easy to do, and it kind of captures people's attention. I mean, I don't think there's anything else out on YouTube that does that sort of thing. Get a guest on, Desert Island. Well, the guy that used to do it, a guy called John Latimer, a fellow Scots person, he he appeared in episode 1 because I actually contacted him before I started it, and I says, "Listen, John, I'm going to, I want to start doing this thing. I'm conscious that it's similar to what you used to do." And he went, "Listen, mate, you fill your boots." He says, "I don't own that format." He says, "I
Yeah.
nicked it off Desert Island
I
Disc." He
nicked
says,
it from somewhere else, and you're just nicking it from.
he goes, I respect that you think that I'm worthy of asking for your permission. Obviously, my spin in it is, and that's the fun part, what 3 games are absolutely dog shit.
Oh yeah.
And it's interesting. It's interesting to hear. It's interesting to hear people's opinions. I mean, there's been games that have appeared as a dog shit game, and it's also appeared as one of the 3 that they'll take to the bloody desert island with different
Yeah.
people. So it's interesting. I think what you can sum up from that is everybody's different, and in some ways, I'm actually tempted to. I think I've done. I say this every week. Every time I do one, I always make an arse of myself. I say, "Oh, I can never remember what number it is." It's number
19, isn't it?
19. Yeah, no, 19. Yeah, that was one with Michelle. I'm actually tempted to make a list when I get to 20. Make a list of the top. What would that be? 60 games. You see,
Yeah.
these are 60 games that people would take to Desert Island. So you might want to check them out. You know, that's something else to do.
Yeah, and
But
then you'll see how many times one was mentioned.
there's been a couple. I mean, I think the Zelda games on the Switch, they've kind of cropped up a few times.
And don't you remember that when that was happening, it was all in a bunch of a particular time frame, and then nobody's mentioned it again since. It's like it must have been because it was in favour at that particular point that somebody was asking the question.
What kind of interests me quite a bit, and I found quite intriguing, was Tony Temple, who obviously Tony's he's Ted Dabney. He's firmly old school. Missile Command World Champion. Then my mate Andy Lowe, who's a sick boy. Andy is he's as good as Charlie Farr at games. And I think Charlie won't be offended when I say this. I think Andy has probably got slightly more talent as far as he can play a game for the first time and just be good at it. Whereas Charlie, well, he's still shit hot, but he practices games. But so my mate Sick Boy, he grew up in the arcades, and yet both Tony and Sick Boy picked a Zelda game on the Switch. And you think, wow, you think they're going to go for Defender or something. So it's interesting. It's interesting hearing people's kind of opinions about stuff. But I mean, tell us about your YouTube channel, Dale. Obviously, you started off, I think, partied down to myself and Panther. So it's saying, like, why don't you give this a go? You might enjoy it. I mean, you've been doing it now for, is it 2? It's now over 2 years, aren't you? You're more
third year. Third year.
Nice. This is third year now, yeah.
So it's 116 weeks ago that I did it because it was blog 116 last Sunday. So there you go.
Bloody hell.
Yeah, how did it start? So yeah, it was your 12-hour stream. I remember it well. My granddad was in a nursing home, and I took my mum to the nursing home every Sunday. And you'd enticed people to say, "Do you know what? I'm going to do a throw out on this 12-hour stream. Anybody that wants to come on, there's going to be a section where I'm just going to say, throw you an invite. You want to come on, do so. Then I'll wait 10 minutes and we'll do another one like that. We'll do a whole hour of that, see what comes on and all that sort of stuff." Of course, I was listening on my in my car to the stream when I was at the nursing home. I actually rushed to get home because there was a section where it was going to be like 2 or 3 o'clock in the afternoon, and I was going, shit, I don't want to miss my opportunity because I've geared myself up now that I want to do it. Scared to death, don't get me wrong. And when I got on the camera, it was like, I don't know if you can tell, I'm sweating profusely. I don't know what to talk about. Let me tell you about myself. Yeah, this. When I got to the end, I thought, I took a glance over and Panther went, bloody hell, he can talk for England, that guy, can't he? Bloody hell. All this. I remember the words quite well. And there was an offer for me to come back on. I don't think it was too far after that. And I remember Panther came up to me and he said, just before it, he said, the problem with it is that you get excited by it, then it becomes like an addiction. It's like you want to do it all the time because you've been invited on. You haven't got your own channel, and you go, I want to go through that again. I want to talk about something different. It becomes a drug, and that's pretty much how it was. But I still didn't have enough to push myself to do my own. The push for me to do my own happened when at work, they'd pushed me to the point where I'd gone to a grievance at work. And I thought to myself, do you know what? I've got nothing to give to my nephew and nieces if I go. I don't have a big friend base for anybody to know that if I lost my mother, God bless her, I'd probably be sitting in that chair dead for 3 days before anybody would know anything about it. And I remember, I think it was a couple of weeks before, I'd watched Ghostbusters 2. I remember Ghostbusters 2 was part of this. In that film, they were doing this psychology test. I don't know if you know about it, but
Bill Murray.
Yeah, no, it was. I think it was Venkman.
Right.
Basically, these two people were arguing, and he went, right, change the color of the walls to red and turn the heat up, right, to see whether they argue more, because it's getting hotter and the color is red. They might argue more. The joke at the end is, in the middle of the joke is, give them a dog, a puppy. And they all went, isn't it lovely and everything, and right? And the color wall was blue. At the end of it, he said, now take the puppy away. That was the joke, right? Now, that reminded me of what the Big Brother experiment was. And I thought to myself, look, I'm going to go through a grievance, and I know full well I'm going to let my body go. I'm probably going to be days where I'm not shaven. There's going to be days where I don't care if I've cut my hair or not. I want to talk about what's going on at work because I've got no one to vent at. Basically, I'll vent at the camera.
A what's and all. Yep.
Yeah. And it ended up being something like, okay, I'll do this each week. It'll be like a blog. It'll be like, this is what my week's been like. And then I thought to myself, over a year, and I could probably stop it at the end of that year, people could see the change. You know, he was rough. He had a bad week. He had a good week. You can tell.
Yeah, definitely.
Because there's a picture that introduces your video, and you just have to look at the pictures and go, "Oh shit, he's unshaven there. I bet you had a shit week on that one."
Yeah,
I'll play that. You know what I mean? It then just went on 2 years, then 3 years, and that's because it was people like yourself that sort of went, "Why don't you start talking about your 8-bit years? Why don't you start talking about your 16-bit years? Why don't you start talking about your movies, the TV you watch?" Etc. So it then turned into a retro zone, which is why it's Delboy 3K's one's retro zone, because it doesn't just rely on computers, consoles, games. It actually is my history, like chopper bikes, rally grifters, skateboards. When I had roller skates, when I played Kaplunk, when I was at primary school and we were learning about money, and you had a grocery store and they gave you coins. And I swear blind, some of those coins were not decimal, they were half farthings and stuff. They were hexagonal. I'm going, where? Somebody's given me a false coin. And they're buying these carrots. I was only 6. I remember being a milk monitor. Now, the thing about it is I think it comes from my natural, I'm nosy. I'm just a nosy git. I want to know what's going on next door through the windows. I want to know what their life is. Why is it that they've always got the better car than I've got? What are they doing that basically, like that? So I've always intended to do interviews. And I wanted to get you on, but I did a rough cut with Rock God a couple of weeks ago.
I don't know Rock God. He seems like a decent chap from what you tell me. And I watched the first part in I think 2 sections, and then I watched a bit of the second part. I've not finished watching it. I don't know anything about him, and you'd be thinking, why the hell are you going to listen to somebody get an interview you don't know? But it was just interesting. I thought you'd done a sterling job. It's interesting hearing normal people like ourselves just talking about, and a lot of the stuff that he was saying I could relate to as well. Obviously, kind of similar age group.
The thing I learned about that was, if you didn't ask the right question or have the brain like Michael Parkinson to change course, your questions fall to bits, because I kept asking questions like, "Oh, do you remember when you were going nightclubbing?" No, I never went nightclubbing. Oh, right. So did you go to the pub? No, I didn't go to the pub. Oh Christ! So then I suddenly on the fly I said, "Did you go to gigs?" "Oh yeah, I went to Iron Maiden concerts, Brilliant. Went to the right." So then I was back on
You
course
found it,
because I changed the question slightly to reflect the fact that he liked live music. Otherwise, that whole second, you see, the first section is our lives are almost exact. We went to school, we had summer holidays, we went bike riding, we had the same board games, we watched the same TV because we sat in front of the TV with our families. Everybody knew Coronation Street, Emmerdale, Crossroads, etc., etc. Then there's a point where you leave school and your lives go totally drastic.
Yeah.
My life would turn into work and still liking computer games. He would move into, I only like Iron Maiden and I'm interested possibly in girls, and I got a car and I started driving around a bit. And it broadens off to the point where he's married, got kids and all that, and I haven't got that. So the live split, and I'm more interested then in the second part than the first, because I know the first part and it seems like we're almost identical. In the second part, totally, we split. It's almost like it went like that.
Mm-hmm.
I went that way, he went like that. Right. And
Yeah.
it then makes it interesting for me and interesting for the viewer.
Well, I mean, it's
I thought anyway. That's what I thought.
Yeah, I mean, you know, I would like to partake in in that, you know, Dell Talks to series. There's probably a few things I need to be mindful of who could possibly see it. And there's certain things that I probably wouldn't talk about. But I think, yeah, I mean, my like when I've still got a group of mates who I went to primary school with. In fact, one of the guys, Don, I caught up with him maybe a couple of months ago, and he says, do you know that apart from my mum and my brother, you are the person that I have known the longest,
Yeah.
because we went to primary school. We're both 5 years old, and we've known each other. And you know, so I've got a group of mates who I still see not very often, but we do get out to the pub now and again.
Yeah.
We all palled about together. We got into computer games, and then I just went woof, got married and that, and we all went off in different directions. And
Yeah.
then we've kind of converged back again, and it's nice now because you can kind of look back and, you know, there's, I mean, I've alluded to in the past that for a short period of time when I was about 18, 19, I was in a small group of new kind of friends, and they bullied me. And
Yeah.
at the time I knew it was bullying, but you just thought, oh, they're just kind of picking on you. Until it got to a point, I eventually told them to all fuck off. And then I said, I was invited to one of them. I was invited to one of the guys turned 50 6 years ago, and I went along to the 50th, and all these guys were there apart from one. This other guy lived in Australia, and it was great seeing them. And the thing is, the last time I saw them, I had kind of partied acrimoniously because I thought, you know, you're a fucking bunch of bullies. It wasn't bad. I mean, in the scale of bullying, it wasn't bad. It was just kind of like wee jibes, kind of, you know, kind of just like one guy used to, if I said anything, he would kind of hit me around the top of the head. But it just
Yeah.
went on and on and on and on and on. And it's like he didn't do it to anyone else, but he did it to me. But anyway, and then after we met in this 50th birthday party thing, and we'd all had a few drinks, etc. And I told her, I says, do you know that all of you guys, you made my life fucking hell? I says,
Yeah.
bullied me. I says, and I carry that to this day. You know, about being fat. I've got this whole thing. I never want to get fat or whatever. I says, and that was all thanks to you. And they were all like, really, really sorry. We didn't realise
We didn't
that.
know. We're naive. We didn't know we
No,
were
they
naive.
were 18-year-old, and you know, I'm one of these guys. I've been going out running with him for the last 3 Sundays, and he's a cracking bloke. So yeah, where are we going with that? But yeah, our lives all go off in different directions. But no,
Yeah.
I thought that video you did with Rock God was a really, really interesting.
The only thing that I want to just say about it, because I want to make it perfectly clear, because it's something that you said, and that is when I was talking about doing the interview, and when I thought up the concept, the first thing I put out at the beginning is, you've got carte blanche to not talk about something. If it's something that you don't want to talk about, if it's something that's too sensitive, then just say, I'd rather not talk about that.
Yeah,
and you have to put that out there. And I made it perfectly clear right at the beginning, and I even spoke about it as the introduction. I said, I've already had a private conversation with Rock God, and I've said, if there's something that you don't want to talk, because he doesn't know the questions, he doesn't know what direction I'm going to go. I'm going to say, you've got carte blanche to say, sorry, not going to talk about it.
Yeah, I suppose it's one of these things as well, as later on, if I was appearing on it, I could say, listen, Craig, see that wee bit about that. Go and take that bit out, mate. I'm not really comfortable with that being in there. I've got nothing that I've ever done that I'm ashamed of at all. It's more about other people.
Now, the other thing about it was about it was that I wanted to give the recordings to the person, right, and say, you've got carte blanche to do what you want with this. Now, you've got 4,000 subscribers, I've got 200. If you want to direct them to me to show you the video that you've just done an interview, fair enough. But at the end of the day, I'm quite happy for you to have your own playlist, put that in there and say, look, my mate interviewed me. If you want to know about me, this is the best 2 videos that you're ever going to find out about me. You don't have to ask these questions ever again, because they're all answered in this particular video, and I can just direct you to it. And to be quite honest, StreamYard also allows you to record the audio different to the video. Both channels are independent to each other. You could do whatever you want with it. I just told Rock God, you are going to get every single bit of the recording that I get, and you do what you want with it. Now, he chose not to do anything with it. That's fine. I just thought to myself, do you know what? Even if you just upload it to YouTube and you say it's private, you could make that live whenever you want. If somebody then turns around and says, I want to know more about you, you can just click the switch and go, there you are. It's up for a short period of time.
I suppose it's one of these ones where, I mean, I would have to give it a bit of thought. Did you feel disappointed that he chose to not do anything with it?
A little bit, but only because I thought it was ideal for him to self-promote himself, because there's so many people. I mean, right now he's just put out a thing that says, should I do another Q&A session? Right? My answer to him was, what a silly question, because everybody loves Q&A. We want to know more about you. Everybody wants to know more about you than they know about you already, right? It's a stupid question. So you might as well just say, every couple of months, I'm going to throw it out there, ask me anything, right? If you do an interview, there's always going to be regret, because anybody that went on the Parkinson show will probably turn around and say, do you know what? I was in a bad light on that show. There's nothing I can do now. It's broadcast. This wouldn't happen with mine, because I give you the recording and you got free carte blanche to turn around and say, do you know what? I don't want it on your channel, and I don't want it on mine either. And I'd go, okay, that's fine. It was an experiment. We did it. It was 5 hours of recording. But at the end of the day, it only works because you're happy with it and I'm happy with it. There's no point putting something out that nobody's happy about. I always know that there are things that I've done, even with you, I'm not proud of. You know, I went, oh, I didn't look right there. Why did I answer that? Why did I look a nonce when I said that, or whatever, right? The thing is, it's like TV, it's out there. You know what I mean? I then therefore look at it and go, I laugh about it now, but wasn't me in the brightest of days that day, was it? Etc. etc.
I mean, I suppose I was talking earlier on about, the waffles, for forever, whatever. The chances of her listening to me talking about, what was the best version of Chucky Egg is unlikely. I suppose if there was a 5-hour video of her dad basically being asked questions about growing up and all that kind of stuff, it would probably be something you'd be like, bloody hell, I never knew that about my dad because she never asked me. You know what I mean?
I'm very proud of the fact that I split it into 5 years, and at the end of those 5 years, I said I want a song that sums up those 5 years, a TV or film that sums up those 5 years, and I purposely timeline the whole thing and put the web links for YouTube to take you to those things. So you might turn around and say, do you know what? Between 1975 and 1980, I always remember my mum playing Forever Autumn, right? And so that's become a song that I play every autumn or whatever it is. That sums up, and I think of my mum every time that's on, and it just takes me back. And to Ava, that's my grandmother he's talking about. She'll listen to the song and go, oh, do you know what? I remember him playing that now. I've forgotten. That's the whole point. It's a time capsule that you open up when you want to remember something about your father, your brother, your sister, or whatever.
And I think sometimes, I mean, somebody recently said to me, can you just talk about what Scotland was like growing up? It's a pretty general question. And I think to just try and look at the camera and talk is quite difficult. Whereas if you've got somebody like yourself saying, so you're, primary school, how did you feel about primary school? Were you happy there? What was your favourite part? And it prompts things. So I think it's better. You're going to get a more honest answer being asked rather than just somebody talking. And you're going to probably ask stuff that I wouldn't even think about. I mean, so have you got a list of anybody else that's going to appear? Have you asked anybody else at the moment?
The first one was always going to be Rock God because I knew less about him and I wanted to know what the result would be like. You were down to be the first one, but I thought I know an awful lot about you, so it might not work. I really need to do it really rough. And from a rough point of view, and this is not to take anything away from him, it's just that if this works with him, it'll work with someone I know their background on. You see what I mean? Because I can make it look like it's the first time.
And I think you would have to. I mean, you've already said about Forever Autumn. You would have to ask me that. So, what was the song from the '70s you really liked? You need to ask stuff that you know the answer to, but the viewer is not going.
That's why I said the second half of that video shoot is totally unique because I knew nothing, absolutely nothing. There is nothing that we have got in relation to tie up other than movies that we watched. So you get to the 90s and he's got he's got VHS players that he's had for about 8 years. All I know is he went down the horror route. That's as much as I know, and I know nothing else. I know nothing about his kids, how he got money, whether his mum and dad were still alive, nothing. It's like an invisible path. When you go down the beginning route, we're kids growing up. Our dads bought us Evel Knievel's bikes. Watch the TV with the family. Saturday was always the same for everybody. Generation game, Bruce Forsyth, play your cards right, whatever.
It's a knockout and Jim will fix it.
It's a knockout, If I mention it's a knockout, everybody remembers, the fluffy, stupid, bloody costumes that they're all throwing about. Do you remember when the royal family played It's a Knockout? Yeah, of course I do. That was me. And so the unknown is where it gets exciting. And then when you've got both together, you go, wow, there you are. The complete
I'm going to interject for a second. It's a knockout. Something has always niggled me. Was there a similar program to It's a Knockout? Something niggles me that there was. What I do remember, obviously, we know the theme tune to It's a Knockout. They used to have, and it sounded quite, what's the word?
There was a junior It's a Knockout, and there was an international It's a Knockout, wasn't there?
The international one, was it Eddie Waring or something on it? It would have Nice and
Belgium. I remember Belgium and everything. I don't know what it is. We're going to Belgium to do It's a Knockout, and there you are. You got these people in fluffy bloody outfits running along a 100-meter sprint with a bloody cake or something in their hands, going like this,
falling into water, trying not to spill the water.
Funniest thing in the world, See an adult take a piss out of themselves, basically.
Just
And then on Monday it went all serious because you watched the Krypton Factor. Oh, sorry, Krypton Factor.
That's the best bloody fuck up ever. What did you call it? The Krypton? The
Krypton Factor. Krypton Factor.
Krypton Factor with
the assault course at the end, and you went,
aye. What was the name? What was the name of the guy? Somebody Burns. He was Scottish.
Yeah, he was. And I can see him now.
Yeah, of course. What was the bit they all wanted to do? We all wanted to fly the flight simulator. Eh?
Yeah, that's it. Yeah, there was the flight simulator. See if you can fly this thing. It was almost like watching you trying to play Airport 747
flight path 737. That's exactly what it was like.
Only cut down into 2 minutes, and then you scored more.
Oh man, yeah, the good old.
That was half an hour on a Monday, and everybody knew it was half an hour on a Monday. This is what I'm trying to say.
Yeah.
We grew up. It was more conformed because we had the restrictions of no technology. Pretty much it. It's, I mean, now we've got satellites, and people are all talking at the moment about, did this show do well? Oh, I've looked at YouTube, and it says here that there was only 2.9 million people that watched it. I'm turning around and going, nobody has come up with the yardstick that tells you whether that's a good figure or not, because you've got iPlayer, Disney Plus, Netflix. You have no idea now that you've got something like 60 million people that live in Scotland, England, and Wales, splitting that up into a specific time where this broadcast was on, what people were doing. I mean, I look at it like this. There was a show that a lot of people watched, like Tenko, something like that, right? Or Roots, right? We had video recorders, right?
Yeah.
Now, it would be the #1 drama that week, and it would get 12 million, right? But the thing is, there were a lot of people that recorded it to watch later, right? If you've got a video recorder at your home and you recorded it, BBC didn't know whether you watched it that time. No idea.
Yeah,
right?
yeah.
So all I'm saying is, it says that it was the #1 and it had 8 million, but you've got Coronation Street getting 17 million, right? That's because I'll tell you why that is. My mum wouldn't even record Coronation Street. She'd want to watch it that night. Roots is something that she might go, that's 2 hours of my time. I think I need to watch that at a time where it's convenient to me.
Mm-hmm.
So, of course, if it had been like a Coronation Street, you'd have probably had 17 million watching Roots, and it would have been just like the #1 top show. So there's no yardstick at the moment to tell you whether digital, analog, and everything, merge them all together, whether they're getting the 8 million and the 9 million that would make the show a success.
Yeah,
because people are watching it on a Tuesday or watching it on a Saturday, and they're condensing the figures to a week and all of this sort of stuff. And I'm going, but there's now 200 channels. There was 5. You're using a convention that we used when there were 5 channels to measure something where there's 200 channels.
Mm-hmm.
How much of the cake can you slice up?
I know.
That's my rant over in regards to, I don't even look at viewing figures because nobody's come up with the yardstick that says recording and when you played it back is also including in the figures for when you watched it.
And it's like, I mean, you think back to Top of the Pops, or Pop of the Tops, as you would probably call it.
Yes, Top of the
Tops. You sat there with your eyes glued, and it's like, we'll go from 30 down to 20. And then you were excited as to what was #1. And it actually meant something. A #1 in the charts meant something. Now, it's like, there's no measurement. I mean, I listened to a video. I can't remember. It was Gene Simmons was saying that.
Kiss, isn't it?
From Kiss, yeah. He was saying that really there's no future for like bands anymore. He said in his opinion, he says you'll never get any big bands like, well, funnily enough, he mentioned Kiss. Kiss, Iron Maiden, Metallica, all these. He says because there's no money to be made in music now. I mean, I put out a people. I do still get a bit of criticism. Oh, you monetize your channel. I put a thing out in Facebook the other day there. Friday Waffle, 143 views, 21 pence. There you go, folks. That's what I'm getting. I'm getting 21 pence for whatever it is. You know, it's what you make. You know, my entire channel, I make probably £100 a year. £100 a year is fuck all, absolutely fuck all. And I'm not moaning about that.
No.
Apparently, like on these music things like Spotify and all that kind of stuff, you get, I think for every 1,000 downloads or whatever you want to call it, you get like, is it £1 or something?
Pound, yeah.
It's really, really small. So I don't know. I think that's why, you know, all these bands now, you go along, their tickets are like 95 quid and the t-shirt's 36 quid because they need to make money. You know,
Yeah.
I don't have a problem with that. Yeah, people like U2 and all that, they're fucking loaded. You know, they could quite easily put tours on and not charge anybody, but they're not going to do that. But yeah, just what you're talking about earlier on. I mean, and I think it's a big thing. A huge part of like growing up in the 70s and 80s was the sort of commonality between what you watched. Oh, did you see Doctor Who last night? Oh, Starsky and Hutch, whatever. We all we sat together as a family. I mean, I've got two sisters, both older than me. We used to there's photographs that my mum took of my mum and dad. My dad's sitting watching the TV, and me and my two sisters are all on one chair, like trying to, and we're all huddled round the 22-inch TV, watching It's a Knockout and watching whatever it was. You know, I can. If you ask me what was your mum and dad's favourite music, well, the Carpenters, John Denver, Dean Martin. You ask Ava, what's your dad's favourite music? She'd be like, don't know. And conversely, my mum knew. She used to like sing the specials. She used to sing Christy Burr. She used to sing the what the hell do you call it? Beautiful South. She used to like
Roxy music. Yeah, you know.
She used to like when I played music because she would like come in and sing along to it. If you ask me what music does Ava like, no idea.
Yeah.
No idea. You know,
it's as much of an emptiness as her knowing about you. Yeah,
I've definitely lost something. You know, you and I can't say, "Oh, did you see that program last night?" Oh, yeah. You know, you maybe get one program. What the hell is it? Baby Reindeer. You get these programs that come along and just they explode, and everybody's talking about it, and then people go away and watch it, and you may talk about that for a wee while. Maybe Game of Thrones, big TV series that people all can watch. But my daughter, I was up at my sister's tonight, and she said, "Oh, have you seen such and such a thing?" I went, "Not what is that? Oh, it's brilliant." Blah blah blah. And there's so much TV. There's so many films that we're all just doing our own thing now. You know,
exactly.
and it's bloody sad, mate. If you ask me.
I think it is because it's that communal thing that we're talking about again. It's that thing where during the 70s and 80s, I don't think many people had a conversation in regards to, do you think that your child spends too much time indoors? We have that conversation now all the time. And back in the 70s and 80s, it was less of a thing because it was like, my kid is always outside on his bike. I never see him. He's playing football against the wall. He's going cricket with his mates or whatever. Is when it's raining, he's a pain in the ass because he comes inside with his friends. Yeah, and they cause riot around the house. The communal thing, online gaming, I think, has proved that we're a people that need to have people around us. The computer became a solitude thing for a long time. You know, you could say online play actually started to bring us up together, but I think actually it's turned into an evil thing. Like your some of your interviewees that you've done that said, I don't like Doom because it brought online play along. I'm in agreement with that. But I also know that it was such a thing that we wanted, because I'd have loved to have been able to have dialed you up individually and gone, hey, let's play this tonight. Let's play golf. Right. Trouble is,
Yep.
you have to go through a lobby now, and you have to play with some other arsehole that you don't want in it. You know what I mean? That's the problem. The gaming world turned into the Tinder of gaming worlds.
Yeah,
You know,
that's the thing. Sorry, yeah, we now live in society where it's true. Online dating, you're just going, but, and I'm gonna say this here: porn,
yes,
porn back in the 80s was your mate's dad got a videotape of his mate, and then can I borrow it? And you watched it, and that was it. Now online porn is just out there for everybody, which I think is awful, because there's I'll guarantee there will be fucking kids watching it, and it just it doesn't even bear thinking about the idea of a child watching a porn. That's how is that going to tarnish their thoughts about bloody relationships and all that kind of stuff? But it's the same as dating, that TV programs, music. I mean, I'm now working from home at my new job, and I thought, oh, I'll play some music, and I'm like, can't I think anything to play? Like, I've got the entire music album at my disposal, and I couldn't think of anything, and it's
can't
it's the
see the
same
wood.
way.
It's that old analogy that I said, you can't see the wood for the trees, because all you've got is a load of characters in front of you, names of stuff, and you go, what was that game again? Oh, I can't think of the bloody name of it. Was it in the G's? Was it in the H's? And you're like that. And you just go, I can't even think of the name now. Hammer something or other.
Yeah, just to kind of, I know we're getting a wee bit misty eyed and nostalgic. I was telling Dale just before we came online. There's a wonderful site that I managed to grab some films or some programs, and I'm going to share one with you. We were talking about it earlier on, and it's from 1958, and it's "Tits Are Stealing Your Milk." So I think we'll take a wee. I know you've already seen it, but we're going to watch it anyway.
That's funny.
This is, let's have a look. Entire screen. There we go. Share audio. Hopefully you're going to hear this, because the audio is as much an integral part of this.
Yeah.
So stand by, get your Kleenex at the ready, folks. This is Tits Are Stealing Your Milk.
Mr. Cramp, why has there been this big invasion of birds?
Well, we think, as regards the tits, that there was an increase in population due to the very mild winter last year and a good breeding season last summer. And then after that, there's been this outbreak of attacks on milk bottles, tearing wallpaper, and so on, which has caused a lot of interest and some irritation to householders.
Well, if people left water in the garden, do you think that the tits would go for the water and not for the milk?
No, I don't think they would, because they want the cream in the milk bottle. That is a very desirable food from their point of view.
Are you suggesting then, Mr. Cramp, that the tit is sufficiently intelligent as to know that there is cream in the milk bottle?
I think they do realise that, and I think they can pick out the best cream on occasion by going for the Jersey milk bottle top.
I love the fact that Mr. Cramp is trying to keep a straight face.
It is funny. Oh, by the way, just so you know, I clicked mute on my mic so that when I was watching it didn't pick up the audio.
Oh, right. Good stuff.
Now, I don't know whether that might help you, but I think what yours was doing is it was playing it and your mic was picking up the audio as well. I could read all the teletext, so it doesn't make anything. But I just clicked mute just so that I helped you a little bit, because I don't know whether I might have caused then a double echo, So.
Well, that's fine. Wait a wee minute. Hang on.
I'll do the same for the next clip anyway.
I want to let you see one more. This is 8 minutes long, and it's entitled "Meet 1983. Meet the Computer Addicts," and this was on Newsnight in 1983.
Oh, It's gone. You need to put the mute back on.
Say that again, mate.
Oh, the picture went blank and then you weren't speaking. So I was going to say there's no picture now.
All right, we'll try that in a minute. We'll use. I
saw the VLC player and then it disappeared.
That was me just closing it down. Right, this should hopefully work. Yeah. Why is that not playing it?
Yeah.
Oh, hang on a second. I'm playing the wrong. Oh, I don't know what's right. This will work. This will work. There's two files called the same. Don't know what was different.
That's it.
Chris Carter works for a large borough council. He's their operations manager in the computer department. He works hard, but not so hard as to leave no time for pleasure. At lunchtime, he goes to the pub. Actually, he doesn't like pubs all that much, but then he doesn't go there to drink and socialise. As long as there's a computer game in sight, Chris Carter is happy.
Pubs without machines don't have a lot for me. I'm not interested in filling myself full of beer. If I found a machine, I'll stay with it until I mastered it, usually. I can achieve some startlingly high scores by finding the chinks in the armour of the person that programmed it.
There are disadvantages. Usually, Chris has mastered the latest game within 2 or 3 days, while the machines are only changed over once a month. And he doesn't like the smoke and noise in the pub. It hinders concentration. So in the evenings, he stays at home, where he can get on with his hobby in peace and quiet. Chris Carter has spent thousands of pounds on microcomputers, the kind you can just about fit into the spare bedroom. He puts in 20 to 40 hours a week at the keyboard, day and night, often right through the night. The revolution that brought the computer into the home didn't change his social life, it destroyed it. So great is Chris's enthusiasm that he's even got his 3-year-old daughter Joanna learning some of the basic skills. She'll be even better at computing when she's learnt the alphabet. But what Chris is grappling with at the moment is the kind of program that could transfer huge areas of professional expertise into the computer, so that he could have the knowledge of the doctor, the lawyer, or the architect at his fingertips.
I've been doing one on house selection or house design. And the method of doing this is putting in the parameters which will tell you what sort of house would be best in what sort of area, on what sort of soil.
How long did it take you to work that system out?
Well, there's 2 components to it. Writing the program will probably take most of my free time for about 3 months. And then assimilating all the knowledge to put into the program, and it'll be far from complete, will probably take the same amount of period.
Do you think you'll use it? Will it be of any practical value at all?
You're joking. I'll have a house by then. I'm looking for one at the moment. I doubt very much that it will be of real use to me.
So why do you do it?
It's a problem. It's there. Why do people climb mountains?
I mean, some people might think that you've really become obsessed with it, addicted.
It's a possibility. It's a possibility. It's not a major addiction. It's not one that costs me a lot of money in real terms. It costs me a lot of time, but it's time when my wife's asleep normally.
I mean, there are some weeks when he'll get up at 5 in the morning because he's working on an idea. And he'll wait, as soon as he wakes up, he'll go and sit down on the machine and start working.
He's punching above his weight there.
Tap, tap, tap.
I was thinking myself there. I wonder what he gets up to at 4 in the morning on his computer.
Tap, tap, tap. From the spare room. I mean, if the same situation had gone on for years, you know, I would begin to think Chris would be better off in a room on his own instead of a microcomputer, and because that's what he was absorbed doing all of his time.
You have to remember the benefits. There are benefits in this stuff.
Oh no, but it's just I want to see something of you as well. So.
Yeah.
I think it's safe to say that marriage is destined to hit the rocks.
The bright and
Yeah,
sunny day,
you might just want to mute, matey.
fresh air. But businessman Graham Hawker has got a problem that's keeping him indoors. He's trying to locate the Princess of Serenia, who's been abducted by a wizard. But on the way to the wizard's castle in the mountains, his way is blocked by a giant. It turns out that he can charm his way past the giant by playing the harp. This kind of computer game is partly a question of trial and error. Incorrect moves by the player are greeted with suitably dismissive replies. Graham Hawker admits that his relationship with home computers has been little short of obsessive.
What is the thrill, though, that you get out of pitting your wits against a computer?
Well, I think there are two things. The first is the computer's perfect. It doesn't make mistakes. It responds in an absolutely predictable way. So in exploring anything that the computer's doing with you, anything that happens that you didn't want to happen is purely your fault. It can't be the other side. The other side's perfect. So in a sense, you're pitting yourself against a perfect machine, trying to prove that you're just as perfect.
Try telling that to all these people from the post office that computers don't make mistakes.
Hello, Jill.
Computer addicts tend to be men or
Mrs. Doubtfire.
boys. Arundale, who runs a sweet shop in Hertfordshire, proves that you don't have to be male to be computer mad. She bought one to help out with the accounts. The computer did in seconds what had previously taken her 4 or 5 hours of paperwork every.
Remember that chewing gum? You see that chewing gum, double mint? You can't get that bloody one. See that one there?
Yeah.
You can't get double mint. What was that? Free mint? That was like sugar free. Remember that?
Yeah.
Or was it for like people who wore dentures, something like that?
What did she do with the time she saved? She became a computer enthusiast. But devising her own programs and getting inside the mind of the machine.
I remember this clip being used in Micro in the.
Ah, yeah. You're right. Yeah, you're right. I thought I'd seen that before, actually.
Shop, the box. That's a potentiometer. I'm doing my first project, which is printed circuit board.
Yeah, the reason I remember it is because I was going, my mum wouldn't even know what a potentiometer is. And this woman is about the same age or something. And she's talking.
She's building her own computer. Fucking impressive.
Well, the printed circuit board, it's the beginning of the computer in actually making your own computer, your own electronic gadget, as it were. And that is a potentiometer that I need for the my first project. That's a dual potentiometer, and that is the single one. And these are the capacitors. And
this is quite amazing. I mean, you're not content with programming computers. You want to make them yourself now.
well, it's a challenge. It's exciting. And after all, this is the very beginning of the whole thing. So I like to start at the beginning, and then I'll know how the computer even begins to operate before I can do any more peripherals. If I'm successful with this project, I shall do something a little more adventurous.
You're not becoming a sort of computer addict, are you?
Well, I don't know. I may be an addict, but I call myself an enthusiast.
Lying bitch. You're muted, Alan, mate. You're muted.
Oh, bollocks. I'm saying, you look at her hand, she doesn't actually, she looks like she's got a prosthetic face on.
I know.
She's probably a lot younger than she actually looks. She's probably like mid-50s or something.
Yeah, I reckon she's in her 30s with a wig on.
Person.
I'm in a bit of a dilemma at the moment. I don't really know what I want to use it for.
In 1982, the salesmen had their best year so far with home computers. There are now about 700,000 of them in Britain. The cheapest, at about £70, has sold around 500,000. But something a bit more sophisticated could cost 2 or 3 times that amount.
It's worth me spending £200 or whatever.
I see.
Like
The salespeople freely admit that a computer won't magically take over your household finances. They tend to stress the educational value for children. What they probably won't tell you is that you just might find your relationship with the machine more intense than you expected.
That was brilliant. You need to take the mute again, matey.
Happier times, eh?
Oh yeah, but I mean, it's great to watch those clips because you know,
brilliant. Yeah.
obviously the old lady in the sweet shop. I've seen that, but some of the other stuff I hadn't. That Chris Carter going into the pub, I didn't know if I'd seen him before or not. But he tells an interesting story. Basically, it's like it's not going to cost me an absolute fortune, but it's going to take up my time. That's something that a lot of people is happening now. We spend an awful lot of time, you know, like if you look at Steam, it will say in this one game I've played 60 hours.
Yeah.
Where did 60 hours go?
Are you talking about the bloke that went to the pub?
Yeah, Chris Carter, his name was.
I don't know if you noticed he must be pretty bloody good at it because you see the speed of the bloody baddies in that Mr. Do. So
I know.
He was obviously at quite a high level, like, fucking hell.
I know it said it was screen 2, but I'm going, yeah, third time round. You know, because it weren't going like that when I was playing on screen.
Listen, mate, we're going to call it a day very shortly.
Yeah.
Got a couple of things I want to kind of quickly discuss. I watched there was we were talking about it earlier on, actually. I watched the Ghostbusters that came out about 4 years ago, the sort of reboot.
Like the ladies version, yeah?
Yeah. No, the one after that. No, the one with what do you call him? The wee guy that's sort of Stranger Things.
Oh, the one where I think is it Venkman's dead at the end.
Yes, yeah.
One. Yeah, okay, yeah.
I watched that one. It starts off where you see the guy getting killed. Anyway, yeah, I watched that a couple of nights ago, actually.
Yeah.
I thought it was pretty good, but then I watched the latest one, and I thought it was really, really good.
Right.
Have you seen the latest one yet?
Yeah. But
you have.
I think the consensus is generally at the moment that is a terrible Ghostbusters. So you're in a minority.
Well, there you go.
Amongst people that I talk to. For me, I didn't see it as bad as what they did. But then again, I have always thought to myself, as I empty my brain, I watch a film for entertainment value. I don't look at it from the way some other people's perspectives are of films at the moment. So,
well, it's interesting because you've just told me that, but prior to you telling me that, I've just told you that I thought it was fucking really good.
Yeah, that's right, and that's great. And don't ever shake yourself away from something that you enjoy because somebody else goes, yeah, but did you look at it from this point of view? And then when you think back, you go, oh yeah, that's ruined that now for me. Yeah. Don't, because at the end of the day, your first gut instinct on whether something is good is probably right because that's the moment that you were watching the film. You don't want to lose that just because somebody comes along and says, oh my God, it was shit. Didn't you think that when this happened and this happened, that basically that's all woke and all this sort of stuff? You just turn around and go, I didn't think of it that way. I was watching it as a film. Why are you bringing all that in? You're ruining my experience of it in my brain. Keep that opinion, matey, please. You would be unique on the gaming side of on the film side of things because so many people then go on one of these chat things with movies, listen to what somebody says that they like up there, and they must think to themselves, well, he knows better than me, so yeah, I'm not going to go and watch that now because he says it's shit. You don't want to do that.
Or you'll change your opinion about something. But no, I mean, I've never taken films too seriously. I've watched them for what they are.
This way.
It's a bit of fun. You know what I mean? And yeah, I can't be arsed with people that they fucking go into the nitty gritty and all this and all that. At the end of the day, did you enjoy it? Yep. You know.
That's it.
Yeah. No, I thought it, without any spoilers, I quite liked how it kind of, there was wee nods to the originals, which I thought were pretty good.
Yeah.
You know,
I mean, my negative to it was I do agree after watching it, and I thought it at the time, and this is why I agree, that Bill Murray did a dial-in performance. It was almost like I'm here, I'm getting a paycheck, but I'm not really here.
Yeah.
And it's almost like there's a glazeness to him.
Yeah. The thing is with Bill Murray,
that's all I can say bad about it, really.
Bill Murray always plays this really obnoxious sort of like I'm better than you character. I mean, you've seen him in Kingpin, and even in the original Ghostbusters, he's that kind of deadpan and all that, and he's kind of playing that same role. I know what you're saying. I kind of thought that as well.
Well, I wanted to see
yeah.
him. I wanted to see him like I saw him in Groundhog Day, but there wasn't. It's almost like I know my friend Ivan Reitman's dead. I'm doing this because Ghostbusters is big, and I thank Ghostbusters for probably creating my career. I'm here, but I'm not really here. It's not like it was in 1984 for me, and that shone in his performance that he gave in it. That's all. That's all I saw in it, you know. And I miss those days when Bill Murray was like Stripes, and you know, and Caddyshack, you know, Caddyshack with that gopher. Fucking hell, you know. I mean,
well, I watched Kingpin fairly recently.
Oh yeah,
fucking brilliant
with his hair that he just.
The bit for me is when they're in the final. I'm sure I'm not giving any spoilers because everybody's seen Kingpin. When it's him and Woody Harrelson in the final, and this rather ample bosomed sort of woman runs on, and Woody Harrelson kind of goes, "Oh, how you doing?" Shakes her hand, and Bill Murray puts his hand on her chest and sort of, "Come on, off you come," and he's feeling her tits.
It is an incredibly fun film. That I've watched it time and time again, and still find it funny.
All right, well, I want to say that.
Even the Amish side of things is funny. You know what I mean? It's like,
no, it's you know, a Munson is the term for being a failure.
Yeah, you've got a Munson.
Brilliant. Oh, by the way, I've just remembered what I was talking about when I went to Kuros with Ava.
Ah, good.
You know what? It was, and the reason I even brought it up was because when you move your head about, because you've got one of the fake screens, every now and again you get like it's like a little red outline around the top of your head, very briefly. When I was at Kuros on Sunday, I had my fancy dancy sharp Sony camera. I hadn't used it for ages. I thought I'll take that along, take some photos. But I noticed through the viewfinder, every single thing had a red outline. I'm like, oh, what the fuck's going on with this? And I pointed at the grass, and it was like a mass of red. And I'm like, oh, come on. I was even going like that, and I was hitting the screen. I thought, come on, it's obviously knackered. And I was trying to switch it on and off. And I thought, I'm not wasting anymore. And the thing is, when I took a photograph, the photograph looked absolutely fine. I thought there's obviously something going on with that. And then when I got home, I dug out the manual, and what I had was it's something to do with like the focus. Outlines. So that's what it was. And I thought, I fucking broke the screen. And I'm going like that, hitting it to try and fix it because I'm a bloody pillock.
Technology, eh? Can't live with it. Can't live without it. There you go.
Can't live with it, exactly, mate. Eurovision Song Contest. Did you watch it?
Oh,
I didn't watch it.
I am disappointed to say that every year I did exactly the same thing. I don't watch the music, and then I know full well at 10:30 if I turn it on, I'm going to watch the voting. That's when I watch the voting.
I didn't watch it at all. I used to do what you did. I wasn't interested in the sound, the music. I just wanted to watch the results coming in.
Yeah. Blasted Sweden gave us 0 again, bastards. Israel, 12.
I'm going to reserve judgment on it. Personally, I think it's a complete lot of pish, but I do know that an awful lot of people really enjoy it, and if it makes people happy, it's not offending anybody.
Hey, just think in your lifetime, Alan, if you have your referendum and you become independent, Scotland would be its own country in itself, going into the Eurovision Song Contest.
And he would walk 500 miles.
The other Proclaimers going up there singing a song, and it's like, the song for Europe is now Proclaimers. Hey, it could happen. It could happen in your lifetime. Who knew?
You never know. You never know. Last one. In fact, I've got 2 more. Well, 3 more actually. Apparently, there is the Mister, which we love, is a device. It's an FPGA device thing. there's a board which is the most expensive part. Apparently, there's like a budget version.
That's
Do
right,
you know much about
£99.
it? Yeah, yeah.
I knew about it before I saw it on the
Discord, whatever.
retro caves. This week in retro. I knew about it before then. I can only think of it being a good thing as far as I'm concerned.
Of course it is.
I mean, it was stupid. Somebody asked the question, is this a good thing or a bad thing? Does this take things away from Terrasic and all that sort of stuff? If you actually watch the video of the bloke who actually is helping design it, he turns around and says, Terrasic use products that are much higher grade than what we use. We've cut corners by using like power switches that probably don't have gold connectors in them. Ours are using silver, and that's why we can cut this down. But as far as we're concerned, if we've got 98% accuracy, we're happy with that. And if somebody wants to turn around and say, I'm willing to pay half the price and have 98% accuracy, then we're on to a winner. And I'm going, bloody marvelous.
Yeah.
Do so.
No, absolutely. I do feel sorry. One of my the viewers, Brian bought a Mister last week. He messaged me, he goes, "Oh, I've just bought a Mister," and then the next day he went, "Oh, bastard!" It's just, he goes, "I'm still glad that I've got my Mister," and I said, "You've got the original, and it's obviously the best one." But no, anything that the Mister, I will sing its praises to. Retro Russ was at down at Blackpool, and Wee Bob, not Blackpool, Arcade Club. Wee Bob was there as well, and we managed to convince both of them to get a Mister.
Yeah.
I know Bob was going to go and buy one. I know Russ was going to go and buy one as well. So, but the problem is the prohibitive part of it is the price. So if you can get, if we can get something that gives the same performance for half the price, and that's
if you can get something from £500 down to 220 quid, all told, bloody brilliant.
Exactly. The second last thing, if you're watching any YouTube video, excuse me, you get an advert at the start, and one of them that's coming up at the moment, it's one of these what's it called? What's that really popular game on the like on a mobile phone? Game of Lords. What's it called? It's sort of like a power struggle type thing. There's this one, and it's like you're in a ship, and you see the guy getting attacked, a white shark, and all this kind of stuff. I don't know if you've seen it. And I'm like,
I don't know. I don't think I have, because the one that I kept seeing for weeks and weeks and weeks, and it drove me nuts, is where you're on a road and you're just moving from left to right, and it's like you got to kill all these, and it goes 1,000, and then
yeah. That was,
and it drove me bonkers, because every time I was like, I'm sick of seeing this. Go left, you bastard! No.
Or you get the other one. I know. That one was a popular advert for a while. The one before that was, I can't remember what it's called. Something Ebony. You're like a king of Ebony, and you open a switch, and all the boiling acid falls.
Yeah, and you're saying, well, is this in the game? And everybody was turning around saying, "You buy that game. It's got nothing to do with what you've just seen."
Is that? Oh, really? Right.
It's actually it's a castle sim game. What's that got to do with?
So it's nothing like that. Yeah, but the one that I saw at the moment that seems to be getting shown all the time is, it's kind of like a kind of populist type game. You control a ship, and like you see this white shark attacking the guy, and the guy kills it, and it's like, it is beautiful. And I thought, if I could download that game on Steam, or buy it on Steam, I would play it. But I'm not interested in playing it on mobile games. So why? It's mental to think that mobile games they obviously sell, they must sell, but I've given up playing games on, I don't know if Apple phones are the same, but playing any game on an Android phone, it's a waste of time.
Yeah.
Constant downloadable extras and all this kind of stuff, adverts constantly.
There was a time where I did, when I bought a phone, I couldn't wait until I was able to play games on it. But then there was a point where I went, I don't want to play games anymore on this. I think it was a point where money came into it. Or you can only get so far, and then it was you have to pay to get any further. because that's the only way that you could win. The grind would take you thousands of hours, and somebody can come along with 49 pence and do it in a second. And I went, no, I'm not playing this crap anymore.
Aye. Well, I can't remember who we were talking. It might have been John here, actually. We were talking about that, just saying how, being able to buy attributes and all that kind of stuff, it's just kind of spoiled it for people. You're no longer playing on a sort of level playing field. But yeah, my point with these mobile games is some of them look astonishing. I would love to be able to play them on a computer or an Xbox. But obviously, they must be making more money on mobile rather than they've got a bigger
market. Well, it's a bigger market if you think about it. It's that market of. Do you remember back in the day? It was like how many tellers are actually in each person's house, and they worked out actually it's no longer one per house; it's now 2 in every house. So if you've got everybody with a mobile phone, and the mobile phone industry is now at a stage where it can only self-supply, it can only self-support itself because you've got to sell a contract to somebody that's already in a contract. So you can't do it. It's all about maintaining the customer. So, of course, the only thing that game industry can do is maintain the customer of the game that you've just sold to them. And you hope that they will spread the word and go, I've just bought this and I'm loving Bejeweled. Oh, yeah. You love Bejeweled. You want to get the 69 pence. You'll love it, And if that's not happening, and I dare say the biggest places that you can sell this product is in the school playground.
Yeah,
that's where the money's going to be made. So it's get the kids involved with a game that costs 69 pence and give it to one child, and it'll be with 300 children by the end of the day in the playground because they've all got phones.
Yeah, that's the thing. I mean, somebody will play a game on their mobile who is, I don't know what the demographic is going to be. You take a 57-year-old woman, she's never going to play the PlayStation 5. Unlikely, but she might sit in the doctor's waiting room and she'll be playing whatever it is on a mobile phone.
Candy Crush or something. But does Ava play on her mobile phone games? Have you asked her? Do you know what she's actually doing?
Nah, I don't think she does.
No, so maybe that's the demographic then, below Ava's age. Is the demographic for games these days.
Oh, but by the way, Ava has actually asked to appear on the Nice and Nasty, so there you go.
I've been on the Nice and Nasty.
What's that?
I've been on your Nice and Nasty.
No, Ava is wants to be on my Nice and Nasty.
Great! Yeah, I want to see that. Yeah, of course I do. I told you that the one thing that I wanted you to do, and I don't think you ever did, is that I thought her artwork was gorgeous. I hope you passed on that knowledge. I thought. Wow, if that's how she's drawing in the next couple of years, what she's going to be like then. It's almost like she could design clothes because the way that she was drawing was very manga-ish, if I remember right. But it was lovely, and I hope you did pass that on because I think that's an art in itself.
She was drawing something on her eye. She still uses her iPad to draw, and she was drawing something last week, I think it was, and she just does it from kind of. Just from our mind, you know what I mean. So but I'm looking forward to getting her onto the channel.
I'll be watching that.
Should be interested.
And like I said, I think the last Nice and Nasty was probably the best one. I was so intrigued with Wendy.
Michelle.
Michelle. Yeah, sorry, it's Michelle, isn't it? And I do apologize. That's because I was talking about Wendy Carlos to someone the other day. Michelle, so interested with Michelle with the ZX81 and the color and so forth. I was just in the zone. It was like And when she was trying to explain it to you, I went, "Oh, he's never going to get it. What are you doing, Michelle? I mean, I've tried for years to explain to him the difference between video RAM and that, and you're trying to tell him about banking,
serial bus and all that kind of stuff.
And then the funny thing was, this is where I was really screaming. You sent me a nice BBC file, right?
Oh yeah.
Thank you very much for that, by the way. Yeah.
Did you not have it?
No, I told you I didn't have it. Right.
Right.
The first thing I did was I went to Elite, and do you know what's underneath Elite? Elite Enterprise Edition. And what did you tell her? Can you get that on the BBC? I didn't know that it was that. I'll have to go and download it. You've got it, you daft bastard. You just give it me. Do you not look at your files? It's one below elite. You can't miss it.
Actually, I did after speaking to Michelle. I did look for it and I saw it there.
Yeah, it's there. I'm going. It's bloody there, mate. What's going on?
See, it's a perfect example of having too many games because you've got everything.
Can't see the wood for the trees. Can't see the wood for the trees.
Very lastly, before I let you go, I know you bought yourself the RGB 30, which is fantastic.
Yes.
I was at the computer club a couple of weeks ago, and somebody had this. I'm going to do a little video from it. I'm going to just switch it on if I can figure out how to switch it on. Who the bloody hell is it? Is that it there? I think that's it there. Yeah. I don't know if you can see that.
Yeah.
It has got a beautiful screen.
Yeah.
Start in a second. I'll just get it. It's just loading it.
I think I've seen that one. It's not a Pau Giddy. I think it's. I'm not sure.
Right, hang on a second. I mean, let's see. Arcade. I don't know. Let's get something. I don't know. 720. It's something I think about it.
It's totally white because the screen is so bright.
There you go.
There you are. I can see the skateboard now.
Yeah, 720. The screen is absolutely gorgeous in this.
Yeah,
beautiful. It's got 2 analog sticks. It's got
down the bottom. Yeah. What's the backlight? What's the backlight? The back of it like.
It's got buttons.
It's the slanted. There's the 4 buttons. That's the one. So I knew what it was because of the 4 buttons at the back. It's you. That is the telling factor of what that is because people have been talking about that.
And 32 pounds.
32 quid,
from China. I ordered it on the Thursday and I got it on the Wednesday. 32 pounds. 32 quid.
Yeah.
That's insane. Absolutely.
And of course it's compared to the RGB 30, which is a square screen just like our TVs.
Yeah.
That one's widescreen. So you've got you can play the wider screen games now, the ones that are better suited to that now, better on that because you won't see the border like you do on the RGB 30.
I mean, I think RGB 30
it's good to have the 2 consoles basically.
The RGB 30 I think still is the better console.
Yeah.
The RGB 30 costs me 70 quid. 32 quid. I mean,
mine was I got it in sale, so it was 45 quid.
Can you imagine buying it in 1985 if your dad went to China and he came back with something like this? There's the entire arcade on a handheld. Son.
Just imagine I'm just imagining now what my 8-year-old eyes would see of that.
That would have been mental.
But then again,
folks,
you've said yourself, your 17-year-old person would turn around and say, "You can get how many terabytes on that small little wafer thing there?" Anyway, that's enough of my impersonation of Alan. So
on that bombshell, mate, I'm going to let you get going. Listen, thanks very much, Del, for joining me, mate. You're always welcome. It's good to. I think in some ways it's good that it's been a wee while because we've had a lot to kind of catch up with as well.
Yeah, but I will say, please get those questions in. It's very important. Now, Alan tries his very best to think out of his own brain, but he ain't got one. So please, to help him out, please get the questions in. That's my plea to everybody. There you go.
Yeah, well, it's like anything. If you want the waffle to continue, you need to give me stuff to talk about. So anyway, listen, Craig, thanks for joining me, buddy. And finally, folks, as always, thank you very much for watching.